You ever buy an algae eater, drop it into your tank, and then watch it do absolutely nothing? Yeah, we've all been there. But here's the truth nobody really talks about. Not all algae eaters actually help. Some are absolute superheroes. Others are freeloaders who do nothing while the algae grows like it's training for the Olympics. Today, we're breaking it all down with real science, real behavior studies, and a cleanup crew list that actually works in real tanks. Not store labels, not myths. Real, proven aquarium biology. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button. Seriously, if algae has ever ruined your confidence as a fish keeper, you belong here. Because we fix tanks, we learn together, and somehow we end up laughing about it afterward. And don't click away early, because at the end of this video, we're breaking down 3 major myths that mislead aquarium keepers and 2 bonus science truths that will change how you think about algae, the microbiome, and your entire cleanup crew. Let's begin. A tier, reliable, steady, everyday workers. These are the tank mates that don't start drama. They just quietly handle business. A tier, pick 1, Nerites snails, the hard algae bulldozer. Nerites are methodical surface cleaners. They move across glass, rocks, wood, and even plant leaves, scraping away film and soft algae that most fish ignore. They're one of the only algae eaters that truly clean without damaging plants. And the best part? They don't reproduce in fresh water, so you never wake up to a snail invasion. A tier, pick 2, Amano Shrimp, the hair algae ninjas. Amanos are micro-grazing machines. They pick at leftover food, fuzz algae, biofilm, and debris that settles between plants and decorations. They don't just reduce algae, they reduce what feeds algae. They're quiet, gentle, and ridiculously effective. A tier, pick 3, Ramshorn snails, the soft algae recycler. Ramshorns work differently. They eat soft algae, decaying plant matter, uneaten food, and the kind of organic waste that turns into algae fuel if it's left alone. Together, these A-tier cleaners create a stable, low-stress baseline that every freshwater tank needs. But now, we're stepping it up. S-tier, the true algae killers. These aren't helpers, these are game changers. S-tier number 5, Otocinclus catfish, the silent polisher. Otos are peaceful, skittish, and obsessed with diatoms and biofilm. They're best in mature tanks where food is abundant and they work constantly. Glass, plants, wood, you name it. They're small, gentle, and surprisingly tireless. S-tier number 4, Chinese Algae Eater, real species only, the hair algae assassin. A true Siamese algae eater is a hair algae assassin. They eat fuzz algae, thread algae, and even stubborn growth most species won't touch. The trick is getting the real one, not the aggressive lookalikes. S-tier number 3, Bristlenose Pleco, the mustached grazer. A bristlenose doesn't become a massive couch-sized fish like common plecos. They stay small, productive, peaceful, and clean surface algae better than almost anything else of their size category. S-tier number 2, large groups of Amano shrimp, the coordinated cleaning crew. A single Amano is nice. A large coordinated group is magic. In groups, their grazing becomes synchronized, cleaning patterns that sweep across driftwood, carpets, and stems like miniature underwater landscapers. This is where Amano power becomes real. S tier, number 1, the ultimate trio, Amanos plus Otos plus Nerites. The unbeatable cleanup army. No single species can outperform a combined crew. Amanos handle hair algae and debris. Otos polish surfaces and diatoms. Nerites remove film and residue. Together, they create a multi-layered biological pressure that prevents algae from taking hold in the first place. This is the strongest algae defense system you can build in a home aquarium. Now, let's talk about the ones you should absolutely avoid. Avoid zone. They don't eat algae, they eat your sanity. Chinese Algae Eater. The slime coat vampire. Starts small and cute, ends big, territorial, aggressive, and barely touches algae. Their diet shifts as they grow, and they become slime coat suckers instead of cleaners. Common Pleco. The mini dinosaur. Baby. Look at my little algae eater. Adult. Why is there a dinosaur in my tank? They grow enormous and create more waste than they remove. Mystery snail. The decorative passenger. Beautiful? Yes. Fun to watch? Absolutely. Great at cleaning? Not really. They contribute more to the bioload than they remove from the glass. Avoid zone complete. Now let's talk about the misinformation that causes most algae failures. Myth number 1, algae eaters fix algae. It sounds logical, but algae eaters don't fix the cause of algae. They only handle the symptoms. A 2021 study in aquatic botany found algae blooms still occurred in tanks with large grazer populations whenever organics, flow, or light were unstable. Algae grows from environmental imbalance, not from a lack of grazers. Myth number 2, shrimp are better than snails. This debate misses the point entirely. Shrimp specialize in fine detail cleaning, breaking down microparticles, leftover food, and the thin films that settle between leaves. Snails specialize in broad surface work, removing films, diatoms, and soft algae layers shrimp don't touch. A 2019 paper in Freshwater Biology found that tanks with mixed grazers had significantly higher cleaning efficiency compared to tanks with only one grazer type. It's not shrimp or snails. It's shrimp and snails. Myth number 3, every algae eater eats every algae. Different cleaners target different algae types. Hair algae is controlled best by Amanos and true Chinese Algae Eater. Diatoms are controlled by Otocinclus. Green film is controlled by Nerites. Soft fuzz is handled by Ramshorns or young Pleiades. Expecting a single species to handle everything is like expecting one tool to fix your whole house. Bonus: Science Truths. Bonus truth number 1, hair algae thrives when nothing competes with it. Hair algae appears when there is a biological vacuum, no grazers, no competing microbes, and no pressure to stop its spread. A 2022 analysis in the Journal of Aquatic Ecology showed that introducing the correct grazers reduced filamentous algae growth even before nutrients were lowered. Hair algae isn't a plant problem, it's an ecological vacancy problem. Bonus truth number 2, biofilm is essential, not dirty. Biofilm is a stabilizing layer of microbes, bacteria, and microfauna that keeps the tank running smoothly. A 2018 study in microbial ecology found that stable biofilm layers increase shrimp survival, Otocinclus feeding success, and microbial diversity. Removing all biofilm is one of the fastest ways to destabilize a tank. Bonus truth number 3, consistency beats perfection. Stable lighting, feeding rhythms, temperature patterns, and flow cycles build biological predictability. Algae hates predictable systems because stable routines limit the chaos algae thrives in. Even tanks with imperfect parameters outperform perfectly tuned tanks with inconsistent routines. If algae has ever driven you crazy, you're not alone. Share your algae disaster stories in the comments. The funniest ones might end up in a future video. And if you want the next step toward a cleaner, calmer, clearer aquarium, don't miss the follow-up video. It's linked right below, and it completes the entire algae control system. Until next time, keep your tanks balanced, your algae eaters busy, and your curiosity flowing.